Hey there, Groovesters, Groove Stars. Ridgely here with another Lessons from the CEO. Super excited to be joined by a new friend, but I feel like been friends forever. Mark Firth, CEO of B2B Growth Team and Mark Firth Online, to share some of his wisdom. Very successful online in the digital world. But I know you didn't start out this way, Mark. So take us back a little bit. What gave you the entrepreneurial bug? Has it always been there? Give us a little bit of history.
So first and foremost, I think I'm more excited than you. I know you're excited, but I'm so excited to be here and really appreciate it. But yeah, that's a great question. What gave me the entrepreneurial bug? And it's I could go on all day about this, but in my case, I believe it was just something that I was forced into it, quite frankly. And I'm really, really appreciative that I was forced into it, because I think when it comes down to starting a business, if you're watching this, I think if you find something that's a greater pull or a greater push than the strength of your fears holding you back, then you just do it, right? In my case, it was an unexpected becoming a father conversation. I was in Colombia. And I had a partner, and one day she texted me. She's like, Mark, we need to talk. And I'm like, can you just text me? Do we have to talk? She's like, we need to talk. And then, the conversation went something like this. Before we even got to the coffee shop, Mark, I'm expecting. And at that time, I didn't have a visa to keep me in Colombia. So it really came down to it's reductive, but it came down to the simple choice of making a business work and being a present father and knowing my son, or having to leave Colombia because I didn't have a visa. I could get a visa through the business. So that's really what got me started. And I'm eternally grateful for that. They say kids change us. In this case, my son, Sam, changed everything about my life and pushed me into it. And I took the burn the boats approach. What's the burn the boats approach? Tony Robbins, right? He says, well, Tony Robbins doesn't just say this. It comes from I think various books in the past, but he delivers it very well. If you're going to take the island, burn the boat, so there's no way out. And that's what I did, because when there's something going back, when there's something greater moving you forward than the fears that are holding you back, you just do it, right? And that's what happened with me.
Awesome, man. So take us back to those early days, because we have a lot of people that are veterans on their entrepreneurial journey, and a lot of others, maybe more, who are just jumping in. They have a dream, or they have a circumstance like you do that pushed you in a particular direction. Take us back to the early days. What was it like when you were first getting up and going? What did you have to overcome? What were the things that stick out to you now?
So I think I had no idea what I was doing. I had absolutely no idea. And let me quantify that. I had a skill set. I was lucky. I had a skill set. My background is B2B sales. I worked for IBM. I worked for Siemens. I worked for various startups. I sold to companies like BMW and Pepsi. So I knew exactly what I needed to do to close a sale. But I didn't know how to generate those sales still. I still had issues with that, because we were moving into the online world. And my experience had always been very traditional. So I think the most powerful thing that you can do is realize it doesn't matter how much you know, as long as you can get somebody a result. What do I mean? As long as you can get somebody a result. I literally went on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I was messaging people. I was saying, look, my background's this. I am starting to do this for other people. I will do this for free for 1 month. And in exchange for that, all I ask is that if you get results, you share it in a video. If you don't get results, obviously don't share it, because we're in the business of integrity here, right? And that's how I got my first 3 or 4 clients. And I worked so hard for those months, got results, got the case study, leveraged the case study, low price, got some more case studies, higher price, because there's always this great debate. And all these coaches and consultants and everyone, they always like to tell you you're worth more and you should charge your worth. But that's good advice. But advice is always contextual, right? If you have no case studies, if you have no experience doing it for other people, and there's a lot of competition that already has that, I don't know whether that's always going to be the best advice. Get a coach to tell you, by the way, they'll help you figure it out. Sometimes you just have to take the hit and get results, because results are the currency. Results get you attention. Results are an asset. Results show you know what you're doing. Results help trust. Results help build authority, and they just solve all the problems, right? So yes, charge what you're worth. Absolutely. But if you look at the person that's telling you to charge your worth, more times than not, they're already a long further down their entrepreneurial journey than you. So it's important to remember where you are and what you've got and the assets you have, and just get an objective stock take, for want of a better expression, of where you are. I'm talking a lot, Ridgley. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. I mean, I think back to when I first started my speaking career, and now it's been, 30 years. Yep. And I happened to have a chance to speak to Les Brown, one of the great speakers.
Oh, I love you. Yeah.
A good friend of mine now. We've become friends, and he's been a mentor for a long time. And he said, just speak everywhere. Speak for free. Speak for free as much as you can. He said, here's what you have to do to become a great speaker. 500 speeches. So get going. Start talking. And I couldn't agree with you more. You can't jump out there with stupid, ridiculous prices if you don't have something to back up where you're coming from.
Exactly.
And it's okay. Think of how many funnels start out with a low ticket thing like $5, $7, $9, just to get somebody to say yes to your thing, and then you bring it up. I think that makes total sense. And yes, I also agree with the charge what you're worth, but there's a balancing act there. Yeah. And knowing how to do all that takes time. And it doesn't happen for somebody just because they decide to hang up a shingle and say, I am now an online marketer. I am a digital expert. I am a wizard, whatever.
So sorcerer, that's the latest one, isn't it? Sorcerer. Wizard.
I'm an alchemist. Business alchemist. That's me. Okay. So what do you think? Having fun over here. It's all good. So based on your experience so far, what do you think are the top couple of characteristics of a successful entrepreneur?
So I'm going to quote Les Brown. By the way, if you know Les Brown, we listen to him in the car because it's better than the trust you get on the radio. And my daughter is 4. She doesn't really understand what Les Brown is saying, but she's in the back laughing and so engaged with it. And that is the mark of a great speaker, right? That they don't even know what he's saying, but you can feel that energy transference.
But anyway, Before you answer the question, I got to tell you a quick story. So I'm in a mastermind with Les, and I was part of Les Brown University. I was a teacher there, and I was on the faculty. And I said to Les, my mom knows that you were going to be here, and she said she just wanted to send her love to her favorite speaker, Les Brown. And Les looks at me and says, call her. So I picked up the phone, and I called my mom. I said, Mom, I got somebody here who wants to say hi to you. And Les grabs a phone and says, hello, this is Les Brown, Miss Mamie Brown's baby boy. Just want to say hello. Your son is great. How are you doing, ma'am? And he, right there, spontaneous, called my mom. My mom about had a heart attack. It was great. He was so generous with his time. It was awesome.
So he has a great way of delivering lessons. And one of the things he says is you can't have a problem with problems. As an entrepreneur, I think that's number one. I would take that in further and say, if it's not working for you, then it's working on you. And if you give the problems a chance to work over you and wash over you and see them as opportunities in disguise, I believe he also says that, but it might be someone else because all the great entrepreneur speakers say that. In short, the business is not going to be plain sailing. It's going to throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink. I don't know if the kitchen sink thing is a US phrase or a UK phrase. I'm British. But that's absolutely it. Expect problems, learn to see the gold in the problems and move forward from the problems. I can't even tell you what we've experienced over the last 5 or 6 years. I sometimes used to say to my wife, Paula, do you want to do this? Like it's hard. It really is hard, but it doesn't have to, but hard is contextual, right? The great Jim Rohn says, what's easy? And then he would define it. Easy is, can I do it? I would say, can I do it in a short time frame? A lawyer, college, another lawyer school, 10 years experience, 15 years of study, right? To get where they need to be. In an online business, you can realistically grow a decent income in 6 to 12 months, maybe less. So is it hard? Depends on context. It's easy in the context of everyone else, right? So that's number one lesson. Number two, learn how to package your thoughts. I've just touched on it there. And you've learned from Les Brown. He delivers the same message that everyone else does, but he does it in such an engaging, well, most of the time, but in such an engaging way that people think it's a new message. There's no such thing as new information. There's just information delivered with a different energy in a different way, with a different story, with a different anecdote, and people get it. If you can master your communication, it doesn't matter what you sell. That makes sense?
100%. So, got to show you something. Check this out.
Oh, yeah, go for it. There we go. Yeah.
So I was Jim Rohn's voice. I am Jim Rohn's voice.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You know, he says that, right?
Yeah. So if you buy any of Jim Rohn's books in Spanish, they're in Ridgely's voice.
Yeah. He says some great things. He says some
I
great
love
things.
Jim. He's awesome. I spent 2 years traveling with him all over the world. It was amazing. It was great, great, great. So you mentioned that you've had a couple of setbacks. You've had a couple of things that have happened. You mentioned, I love that, you can't have a problem with problems. So share one of those with us. Share one of those big setbacks, those big things that happened, and what you took away from it, what you learned from it.
So I think it's like buses. What would I mean by London buses? Like, we have a saying in the UK, there's never any buses and then they all come at once, right? The same thing happened with problems. We did skate close to the edge when we were growing the business. We took risks that I probably wouldn't take again. We went into a lot of debt. Should you go into debt? That's another subject for another time. We won't go into that. We did. And we had in the course of 1 week, our ads account went down. And then we just had a pay in full, which was a significant amount of money for us back then, which was keeping us afloat. And the partner of our client didn't recognize the transaction or the name. She hadn't told him. And so it came through as a dispute, money out the account, ad account down. And I'm just like, is anything, this was all Friday afternoon, by the way. It was all a Friday afternoon. It's never a Monday morning when you've got the whole week sorted out, is it? And so I'm just like, what do I do? So I called up the lady, and I was very lucky. And this is the lesson here. Get the right clients. Get the right clients. I called her up and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe this has happened. This is my husband. She goes, tell you what, send for another payment link. I'm just going to pay you again. And when I get the money back, that's all good. And we went from like worrying about the next week and the next 2 weeks to like, oh, thank you. Because if you get the right clients, they'll pay you twice. That's the expression. And we figured out the ad account and all that. The second lesson from that was never have your business. We don't anymore. We've got more than one traffic source, one lead source, 3, right? Back then we didn't. And so take risks, but not that many risks. All right. So that's what happened. And then the lesson that came from it.
Awesome. So talk to us a little bit about mentorship, about the concept of finding the right people to learn from, and also possibly being a mentor. What has that meant for you in your career? What does it mean today in your business? What does that look like?
Everything. It's everything. I wouldn't be where I am without the people that I've been lucky enough to have in my life. My first mentor became best man at my wedding, funnily enough, because he took me from a place of a lack of belief, no idea what to do, helped me a lot. And then I moved on, and then, that went to a different direction as life sometimes takes its course in a great way, not a negative way. That's the great thing with mentors. They move on and they change. So they've taught me lessons about what to do, what not to do. They've given me prescriptive advice. They've helped me reframe things. We've even had people help with our marriage. We hire mentors and coaches in every element of our life. Lately, I would just say the one thing that I've got from mentors that I've never got is just that uplift in belief and energy just from being around the right people. I never believed in that, but we're in the same one, right, originally, and that's really given me an uplift. And just find the right people. I always say this is my philosophy on mentorship. Look for a balance, right? Look for a balance. Don't just look for the person that's a long far way ahead of you, because that's important. But sometimes people that are so far ahead of you can't get access. Get someone that's just far enough ahead of you that you've also got access. If you get in that spot, access, and to ask the right questions, that's when you're rocking and rolling. That's what's always worked for me. Getting that person that's far ahead and access. And that I'm talking a lot. Actually,
it's all good, man. No, but we want to hear from you. That's why we're here, man.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, what about, you talked about Jim Rohn, we talked about Les Brown.
Yeah.
How important is it for today's budding entrepreneur, whether you're budding in your years as an entrepreneur or you're a little older, but you're just going on the journey, to do continuous learning, personal development, professional development? What is that? How important is that to you?
It's essential, but don't consume more than you produce. That's the big caveat, right? Production should be greater than consumption. I don't know if someone else calls this, but I call them dopamine chasers. And it's not the same as ambulance chasers. It's dopamine chasers. We've been going six years online. What's a dopamine chaser? The same people still ask me for all my downloads, all my advice. They pop me the message. Oh, Mark, you got a minute? Mark, can I pick your brain? They're dopamine chasers. And you look 6 years on, their business still hasn't moved on. What's a dopamine chaser? These are people that are unable to separate the act of buying a course, consuming a course, from the act of producing an asset, producing something, doing the work. They get this rush of dopamine. What's dopamine? It's the feel-good chemical just from buying something, just from getting some information, but that's consumption. They can't separate consumption from production. So I think the most important thing is, yes, is like you need advice, you need direction, you need people to show you what to do and make all these micro decisions and give you the overall strategy, but never at the expense of production, because production will also tell you what works for you, your own individual business, your own individual funnel, your own way of doing things, your own market. In my journey, I've had to ignore a lot of what's been taught to me. And it wasn't bad advice. It's just like, these were great mentors, but they were giving me the advice that would have applied for their business. So it's like building a restaurant. You take a sprinkle of that, a sprinkle of that, you know, you get the color scheme from here, the ingredients from there, you get the aesthetics from there, and you pull it together into your own marketing strategy. Does that make sense? I've just made that up, but it sounds great about the restaurant.
For real. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I do think that there are dopamine chasers out there who spend too much time learning, listening, attending an event, going to another thing, and they don't take action themselves and fail their way forward. Because at the end of the day, when you get going, you got to fail your way forward. The chance that your thing, whatever your thing is going to work stellarly out of the gate is almost zero in today's world. Maybe 10 years ago online, maybe, but today it's hard, and you have to learn hard things. And until you go through the journey of learning those hard things, you're not going to have those big victories. That's just the way it is.
Correct.
100%. So to that end, what would be 3 resources, 3 books, 3 podcasts, 3 something that you would recommend that helps entrepreneurs or that have helped you specifically?
It's really hard, right? I'm a massive reader. I've got, because that's all I could afford, right? I read and make notes. But I'll just tell you what what stage of business? Getting going or further along?
I think more for the budding people that are just getting up and running.
I think so. Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. And the Tony Robbins audiobooks were actually what I used to listen to get me going, because everything is mindset, right? You can't take action unless you're conditioned to take action. I would say do the Tony Robbins audio or the Tony Robbins Awaken the Giant Within, and do all the exercises. I remember doing that. I remember absolutely doing that. And then I read the Arnold Schwarzenegger autobiography, which the name escapes me, Total Recall. Because I always believe if I can read an autobiography and get like even 0.0001% of the greatness of that individual, I listen to the audiobook of the individuals that read it, right? And listen to it and let it wash over you. That will give you a lot of direction. More of a prescriptive book, I would just find a YouTube channel of somebody that's a long way ahead of you in your niche, doing what you want to do as the third one, and listen to what they say. Listen to what they say. The classic one is Alex Hormozi these days, right? And I get a lot of stuff from Alex Hormozi, but not everything you listen to on Alex Hormozi is going to be relevant to you. That's where you need the coach to take all these 3 things that I've just said and help you formulate them into your own strategy for you, because there's a lot of information, right? So those would be my 3 go-tos right now. Those were what I did. Alex Hormozi wasn't around when I started, so I didn't have Alex Hormozi. But who would I have gone to back then? I don't even know. I can't remember, but there's 3 good resources.
I appreciate it. All right, mate. So talk to us a little bit. Very hot topic these days, AI.
Yep.
AI changing the world.
Yep.
Some people are saying it's going to potentially create the greatest amount of wealth or wealth transfer in history. What do you think is the future of AI? What would you have to say about people who are getting going and implementing or using in some way this new tool?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's going to be like, in my opinion, it's going to be like the Industrial Revolution, the agricultural revolution, and would we say, I don't know, the technological revolution? I mean, are we in the technological revolution, or is it the AI revolution? I don't know whether they're separate. You can separate that or change them. But long story short, AI is going to be able to do a lot of stuff a lot quicker, a lot easier, and a lot better than all of us. But I think of it like this: the captain's bridge on a ship, right? The engine room is AI. The captain is looking where to go. He's looking at the big decisions of where the ship goes, what the buttons are, what the levers we pull in the engine room. I would say position yourself for that, because everyone's learning AI, and what a great opportunity. But unless you know which lever to pull, you might be going to New York, or you might be going to Paris, or you might be on the Titanic. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be on the Titanic. So I think it is a great opportunity, and we've done so much with it. But make sure that you're the one that's not getting outsmarted by AI. Make sure you're making the strategic decisions and pulling the right levers as opposed to pulling the levers. That's what I would say.
And talk to us a little about, if somebody came to you and you're having a conversation and they said, Mark, I saw this podcast you were on with Ridgely, and you were talking about AI and making sure you use it, but I've never done anything in AI. Where do I start?
My YouTube channel. We've had I don't know, like thousands of hours views on it. And it's gone really well. I haven't done so much AI content lately, but that's where I would start, because that will give you some good ideas. YouTube is a great resource. Just be careful, right? Because it's clickbait, and that's the nature of YouTube. But a great mentor taught me, if you are not making 10 grand a month, you should not have Netflix. You should not be watching TV. I believe that's true. I think you should be finding great YouTube channels, great books, and not only eating well, but consuming, your information diet needs to be as good as your food diet, right? There's some good stuff on YouTube. There's some really good stuff.
I love that. Your information diet should be as good as your food diet. That's a good one, man. I haven't heard that one before, but I really like that. I am a huge proponent myself of, hey, man, we got to be like Jim Rohn used to say that all the time.
Okay.
Where are you in life? You are the sum total of the people you hang out with, what you watch, what you listen to, what you read. So, and he also used to say, the people that don't read are no better than the people who can't read, which I thought was quite profound.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I like that. Yeah.
So here's a good one for you. We have this time warp, and you can go click and suddenly take yourself back 20 years and have a conversation with the young Mark Firth of 20 years ago, based on the knowledge and wisdom, experience that you have today. What would you want to say to young Mark, and why?
I wouldn't want to do it, Ridgely. Because right now where I am and the life I've got, I won't want to change it. It's all part of the journey, right? Everything that I've experienced and consumed and been through, and the good moments, the bad moments, has brought me where I am today. And it's great. Do you know what I mean? It's not just about the destination. It's about the journey. And there's been ups and downs, but the ups and downs, Joe Rogan says this: have you ever met a great man who's the son of a great man? And I pulled that off one of his YouTube channels. And when you think about it, there are exceptions, but I like to load the odds in my favor. It's very different. There's the one in the news now, but anyway, you've never met a great man who's the son of a great man. But that's the reality, that the things we go through are a blessing. The experiences we have are a blessing because they get us to where we are today. I don't think I'd tell him anything. I think I'd let him just figure it out. I'd let him figure it out himself, because one tiny moment on the grand trajectory of time might mean I never met my wife, might mean that Sam and Sienna, my kids, didn't exist. I might not have met you, Ridgely. I might have my business. Do you know what I mean? Everything happens as it should do, right? And that's the truth.
Man, that sounds like a very Buddhist karmic kind of way of looking at things. And me being a Buddhist, I love that. So that's very cool. So give us your take on with all that's going on, advent of AI, all the stuff that's happening, what do you think what's the future of digital marketing look like for you?
I don't know. All I do know is there's a lot of opportunities, and my brain's wired in to see them as opportunities rather than threats. I mean, it's at the end of the day, people are still going to buy from people. And that sounds so cliched. Even as I'm saying it, I'm like, oh, a little bit of vomit's coming from my mouth because it's so cliched and I don't do cliches. But people buy from people. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. What's know, like, and trust? Empathy. Have they experienced what you've experienced? What you're experiencing? Have they gotten past it? Do you vibe with them? Is there that energetic match? And that comes down to communication and interacting with people. I don't think that in my lifetime, the book Sapiens, it brings up a great thought, right? At the end of it, and it makes a prediction for humankind. If we all wanted this feeling, like, where is humankind going? And I'm paraphrasing, why don't we just wire ourselves up to certain things in a dark room and create this feeling of love, this feeling of connection, create the chemicals and just experience that for its eternity? Why don't human beings do that? And I do honestly think that is a really, it might seem a ridiculous question, but why would they not? It's not going to happen in my lifetime. I don't know. Will it happen in my lifetime? I don't know. But whilst it's not, connecting with people, creating language and communication in ways that move people forwards and help people move, that's not going away, at least I don't think, for the next 10 years. So I think the focus in my business, my strategy is just building connection through people, through language, through going on video. And we're building a studio here. It's not finished yet, right? Because that's where my bets are. And I'm not just saying that as a bet. That's what you should do. That's what I am doing. I'm building everything out so I can go on video very easily and communicate my past, communicate my messages, share what's going on. And that's my bet. I don't know. No one knows.
Really, really good one, man. Really, really good one. So where can people go to find out more about Mark Firth and the Mark Firth empire that's growing at the moment?
Mark Firth Online. Type Mark Firth into YouTube, markfirthonline.com. LinkedIn and YouTube are my platforms of choice at the moment. Facebook, I'm just like, I just can't do it. Instagram, I'm like, no. No. I love B2B. I love B2C too, but Instagram and Facebook, I'm done, right? YouTube, LinkedIn, absolutely love them. Find me on there on my website, www.markfirthonline.com. And if you don't find me, I'll find you. My marketing is good. If you go to my website, I'll find you. Promise me. I promise you.
I love that. Yeah, guys. So hit the link down below as usual, or in the description, and go check out Mark Firth Online to find out more great wisdom from Mark. Final words, mate. Final words to the budding entrepreneurs that are out there. What would you want to say to them?
Nike, just do it.
Just do it. I love that. All right, brother. Thank you so much for giving us this time. We really appreciate it. Lots of nuggets of wisdom. Guys, check it out. Go check out Mark's content, learn some more, and keep growing, making a difference, and adding value in this world. The world needs you, and you deserve to be heard. Mark, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.